Let me explain to you how actually the real Al-Fatihah is nothing but a Syriac church prayer. I happen to know Aramaic, so I can dissect Surah Al-Fatihah in its entirety, and I can show you word for word that the Muslims stole it word for word from us. We Christians from the Middle East who happen to speak Aramaic, Syriac Aramaic, we recite this prayer almost every Sunday in our church. And I hope you can take notes, guys. I hope you can take notes. Here in front of you, guys, take a screenshot for the love of God. On the right, in the Arabic, you see Surah Al-Fatihah. On the right, you can see Surah Al-Fatihah, which contains 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 ayahs, right? And in the last part, the Muslims repeat the curses on the Jews and the Christians, right? Right? The first people are the Jews that Allah cursed, and the Christians. Al-Dhalin are the Christians, and the first people are the Yahud, the Jews. So when Muslims repeat Surah Al-Fatihah, they bring the curses down of Allah on the Jews and the Christians. Right? It says here, صراط الذين أنعمت عليهم غير المغضوب عليهم ولا الضالين, meaning the curses on the Jews and the Christians. So when Muslims recite Surah Al-Fatihah, they recite the curses of Allah in their 5 daily prayers. Guys, again, this is Surah Al-Fatihah, chapter 1 of the Quran, right? And here on the left, you see the Syriac church prayer, right, guys? On the left, you see the Syriac church prayer. Now, most of you don't know Syriac, so I have to translate for you. I have to show you how Surah Al-Fatihah, word for word, is stolen from our Syriac church prayer. Word for word. Let me show you. Here in the bottom, I put for you, plagiarized from a well-known Syriac church prayer. So Surah Al-Fatihah, guys, is plagiarized from a well-known Syriac church prayer, an Aramaic Syriac church prayer. And guys, this church prayer existed 3 centuries at least before Muhammad was even born. Remember, the Syriac language is an Aramaic dialect, right, guys? It's basically an Aramaic language, but it's a dialect, a newer dialect. For example, the English that we speak now, right? The English that we speak now is not the same English that people spoke, let's say, 400 years ago, 500 years ago, right? I don't know how old the English language is. But it's a different dialect, a different kind of language, right? You have many words that people don't use anymore, for example. It's a different language, right? So the Syriac language is an Aramaic dialect that started basically, let's say, in the late 3rd century, in the beginning of the 4th century. That's 3 centuries before Muhammad was born. This Syriac church prayer here on the left, we already were reciting it before Muhammad was born, 3 centuries ahead of his time. And Muhammad, of course, is a joke, nothing but plagiarizing Syriac church prayers. And the proof I'm about to show you. Let us start with ayah number 1 of the Quran, chapter 1, Surah Al-Fatihah, ayah 1. Look, guys, the first couple of words in Surah Al-Fatihah is Aramaic. Watch. Here it says, Al-Syrianiyah, the Syriac Al-Fatihah. Al-Fatihah Al-Syrianiyah, the Syriac Al-Fatihah. I put it here in translation for you. Here is ayah number 1, but in the Aramaic or Syriac church prayer. It says here, B'Shem Allahu. Listen carefully, guys. B'Shem Allahu. Allahu means God. B'Shem Allahu, in the name of God, Rahman Rahim. Do you hear it? B'Shem Allahu Rahman Rahim. The Arabic in the Quran, in Al-Fatihah says, Bismillah ar-Rahman Rahim. Do you hear it? B'Shem Allahu, Aramaic, Syriac, B'Shem Allahu, Rahman Rahim. Word for word. Word for word, plagiarized from the Syriac church prayer. This is the Syriac, here guys in the middle. You see the Syriac church prayer. B'Shem Allahu, Rahman Rahim. And the meaning is, in the name of the beloved God, in Aramaic, in Syriac, God is Allahu, meaning in Hebrew, Elohim, right? Elohim. Allahu means Elohim in Hebrew, but this is the Syriac Aramaic language. Word for word, copy paste. Do you see when you copy paste from church prayers, you'll cause a disaster for yourself? Do you see how when Muhammad had access to these books, and we showed you in the beginning, guys, that Muhammad had access to many church prayers, including this one, many Syriac books, because he was working for Khadija, he was a merchant, and he could plagiarize from all these books, right? Let us go back. So, again, the very first sentence of the Syriac church prayer already explains that Al-Fatihah is stolen. In the name of the beloved God, Allahu. B'Shem Allahu, Rahman Rahim. B'Shem Allahu, Rahman Rahim. Ayah number 2. Nothing but a Syriac church prayer. The same church prayer. Look. Hamdu li Allahu Rabb al-Alamin. Alhamdulillah Rabb al-Alamin. That's what the Arabic in Ayah 2 says. Hamdu li Allahu Rabb al-Alamin. All praise to God, Lord of the universe. Copy, paste. I mean, when you're going to steal, at least change a couple of things, man. So it does not become obvious. At least change something. Hamdu li Allahu Rabb al-Alamin. All praise to God, Allahu, in the Aramaic, Allahu. Now, people like Sam Shamhun, who speak the Western dialect of the Aramaic, they will say Allah, Allahu, Allah. So you see, guys, there are some differences in the vowels between different dialects. When you speak the dialect of Brother Sam Shamhun, he will say Allah. We, Syriani, right? Suryoyo, Syriac speakers, we will say Allahu. It's not Allah, by the way, guys. It's not the same God, remember? When we say Allahu, it's the Elohim of the Holy Bible, all right? Guys, do you see how important it is to know Aramaic? To decipher the Al-Fatihah and to show you that it's nothing but copy-paste, word for word. Again, Hamdulillah Allahu Rabb al-Alamin. The Arabic Al-Fatihah of the Quran says, Alhamdulillah Rabb al-Alamin. Copy-paste. Ayah number 3, also copy-paste. Rahman Rahim. Rahman Rahim. Rahman Rahim. The merciful, the beloved. Copy-paste. Ar-Rahman al-Mahbub, meaning Rahman Rahim means the beloved merciful, or the merciful, the beloved. Copy-paste. Ayah number 4. Malik Yom Dino. Malik Yom Dino. Malik Yom Dino. Malik Yom Ad-Din in the Arabic Quran. Malik Yom Ad-Din. And the meaning of, if we translate it to the Arabic, it means the king of the judgment day of the last hour, right? The king of the last hour. Yom al-Hisab. Master of judgment day. The owner of the judgment day. Malik Yom Dino. Copy, paste. Stolen, plagiarized. Wow! Please use this, guys, in your debates. Guys, we are already 4 ayahs ahead and we see nothing but copy-paste plagiarization by Muhammad and our Syriac church prayer. You see here, this is the Syriac, right, guys? Malik Yom Dino. Malik Yom Ad-Din in the Fatihah of the Muslims. Church prayer is nothing but a church prayer, man. You stole our Syriac church prayers. Copy paste, word for word. Ayah number 5. From the Syriac church prayer. Echo at Na'bid, meaning we worship you wherever you are. Here it's a little bit different, because if we go to Ayah 5, the meaning is a little bit, because, Muhammad tried, right, to not be busted. But here it says, Echo at Na'bid. We worship you wherever you are. And the final part of the ayah makes it even more clear. O Echo at Etnaim. And wherever you are, we ask for your help. These are the Christians who are reciting this, right, guys? These are Christians like you and me. Until today, we recite this Syriac, Aramaic church prayer in our churches. Ayah number 6. Ihdulan sroto idmhim. Show us the straight way. Ihdulan lisroto idmhim. Show us the straight way. Show us the straight way. Where do we find this in the Quran? In the same ayah. Show us the straight path. Show us the straight way. You see, copy paste again. And in the final ayah, Muhammad added the last part about the Jews and the Christians, which is of course not. We Christians won't curse ourselves or ask our God to curse us, or the Jews. Muhammad took it. He and his scribes took it, stole it, but they added the last part to it. Look, the way of those on whom you bestowed your grace. Sroted in hon, din mot alayhon. You see it? طريق الذين أنعمت عليهم. It's the first part is the same, but Muhammad added the cursing part about the Jews and the Christians. الذين أنعمت عليهم غير الذين and so on, right? That you are bestowed your anger upon them, and the ones who are astray. Those are the Jews and the Christians. So you see, word for word, stolen by Muhammad and his scribes. Yeah, Muhammad added the cursing in the last part of Ayah 7. So if we put it again on the screen here, this is the Syriac Aramaic prayer, and I put here the transliteration for the Muslims who are interested to know how Muhammad and his scribes, his thieves, stole this Aramaic language. And for the people who joined much too late, remember, Muhammad had access to books that were used to be in the Syriac language. Muhammad was a merchant working for Khadija, and he received many such books, and he used to ask Zayd ibn Thabit. We talked about it. Let me talk about it again for the people that joined. Muhammad commanded Zayd ibn Thabit, the same guy who collected the Quran. Muhammad asked him, do you know Syriac well? Do you know the Syriac language well? Why? Muhammad continues saying, I am receiving many books in the Syriac language. So Zayd, his response is, no, I don't know Syriac. Then Muhammad said, learn it. So he commanded Zayd ibn Thabit to learn the Syriac language. And we know now why. The puzzle pieces are starting to fit their right places, because he needed Zayd ibn Thabit to steal and plagiarize and make it Quran. You see it? And then Zayd said, I learned the Syriac language in only 17 days. So Muhammad had a hidden agenda, stealing all these Christian prayers and stealing all the information from the Bible and make it Quran. Now guys, do you have now an idea how Muhammad used to steal legend stories? Remember, Muhammad commanded Zayd to also learn the Hebrew language, and he said that he learned it within 2 weeks, or even less than 2 weeks, if you go to the report here. Right? You see, Muhammad used to receive books from the Yahud, from the Jews, right? Muhammad used to get books. Look, it says here, I used to receive books from the Yahud, from the Jews, the books from the Jews. So he commanded Zayd to learn Hebrew. Not only Hebrew, but also al-lugha Syrianiya. Muhammad is asking Zayd, Ya Zayd, do you know al-lugha Syrianiya? Do you know the Syriac language? He says, no. Because I, Muhammad, receive books in the Syriac language. And I gave you the translation. Is there any Muslim? This is really disaster.